Josh, where's the campsite? It's coming up just ahead over there.
Are you scared of the dark?
Absolutely. Yeah. But I'm with my friends. I'm okay.
Are you? Field of Geeks presents
The Super Unknown. I'm Josh.
I'm Mitch.
I'm Juan.
Welcome. Mitch is coming back.
Cousin Mitch is back in the house. Yeah.
Dave's out of town. Wishing the best. And
Fighting the good Google fight.
yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
Dave's traveling
Yes.
to the West Coast.
He's on assignment.
Yeah.
We don't really have one main topic today. What we decided to do was, ever since we created the Facebook page, well, I know I have, and if you haven't, it's not a big deal, Juan, but I've shared
No, I haven't.
unknown articles out there just to get people interested in the whole idea of the show and what it's all about. It's about a variety of topics, unknown topics, not necessarily unsolved, but
Right.
not commonly known by people. So we have all these articles on there, and everyone who follows the page, thank you for all your reaching out, liking the articles and commenting on them, all that good stuff. So we decided to actually pick some of these articles and talk about them for today's show. So
Oh, yeah.
with that said, Mitch has got the first article for us, so take it away, Mitch.
Yeah. Now, the article that I really am going to go over here obviously has to deal with a movie that came out, in the 90s, Fire in the Sky. That was about an alien abduction from a guy named Travis Walton, who was working as a forester in Arizona and saw a saucer and got abducted from there. Now, have you guys ever seen the movie?
I have.
Okay.
It's been a while, but I've seen it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I've
yeah.
never heard
Scared
of
me
it.
as a kid. I remember seeing the previews, him looking
Fire
up
in the
and-
Sky?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has Robert
I'm
Patrick, the
I'm gonna look into
T2.
it.
Yeah, the T2 Terminator.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting take on things, and I think kind of the first time that I know growing up I was always interested in these UFO stuff
Same.
and claims, and it always freaked me out ever so slightly, just because of the look of these creatures. Small, large head, large eyes, small nose, small mouth, and they abduct him, and it kind of takes you through the whole abduction process and what that whole crew went through itself. The interesting thing is it really freaks you out because they go step by step. So he gets abducted, he gets slammed down to the ground, gets knocked out, then gets abducted, and the next thing you see is him opening up into a pod. And it's just this, it's almost like the Matrix,
Right.
He breaks out of this pod, then he's weightless, and he crashes into another pod and opens it up, and it's like this decomposing human body. So it's kind of these thoughts of, aliens have been abducting us forever, and they're doing scientific research on us, and then he breaks out and goes through, and they catch him, just exploring around. And so then they get him down onto this hospital type bed, put this sheath membrane out. It almost looks like
Latex or something?
well, like pig membrane, but laid out flat,
right.
and it suctions down, and he's screaming. And then they put it over his head, and they cut open eyelids and a place for his mouth, and they stuff like this jelly stuff in his mouth, and they shove this medical device down. And then the last scene before he kind of comes back to Earth again is this eye-opening device that sprays this milky white substance, and then you see this needle coming down right next to his eye, and then that's it. So it's quite traumatizing as a little kid,
Yeah.
as you can imagine, and definitely puts a different light as to these aliens. Now, I'd like to think that if somebody was going to come to this Earth, they would come as a fact-finding, not as hey, we're going to do all these tests on you and abduct you and stuff. But you never know. I mean, there's tons and tons of UFO stuff out there. Bob Lazar, I know, has been recently in the news.
Joe Rogan was on too. There's a documentary on Netflix.
Yeah. And I'd like to see Joe Rogan do an interview with this Travis Walton guy. You know, he's in his 60s now, almost late 60s.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And it would be very interesting to hear his take. Bob Lazar, his claim to fame, I don't know if you guys have paid much attention, is he used to work at Area 51.
Okay.
And so he kind of gave the details of his job at Area 51 was to do the propulsion stuff. And that's a really interesting documentary if you get to see it. But you know, they circling back, they kind of go over, you know, once they find him again, he goes through a series of traumatizing events, and kind of, it's the first time that you kind of get to see PTSD in a movie. Right. You know, because when they're taking him back into the hospital and all that stuff after he has a seizure.
The human hospital?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So once he's coming back, then he has like flashbacks of stuff, and he's freaking out and all that, and you get to see these aliens, and the aliens are really well done in this. They have like giant heads and you know, small eyes, and it's enough to freak out a kid.
Sure.
But yeah, it's I think these people that were in this, they claim that they lost their job. I did watch a snippet of a documentary of Travis Walton talking, and he said some of the stuff that was in the movie was not factual.
Sure.
They didn't get fired per se. They were just afraid to go back because of what they saw. I mean, you see somebody get knocked to the ground and then just bloop, up into a spaceship.
Yeah, it was him and a group of guys, right?
Yeah.
And they ran to the truck, I believe, or they were in the truck casually.
They were in the
lead,
truck,
right?
yeah.
And then he was just kind of pondering.
Yeah,
the
he
sky,
was.
kind of.
Yeah, he was looking up, and a beam came down and knocked him.
I gotta see this movie, man.
Oh yeah,
it's pretty good. I remember. Yeah, it was
Fire
like,
in the Sky.
You're like, oh, this is the first time I've seen Robert Patrick not playing a Terminator, and you know, it's just kind of like it's like seeing Jack Nicholson after you've seen Batman, like play a regular part, and it's weird but cool.
Yeah, he's got long hair and he's like a little bit thicker. He's
got
not
a mustache
like that.
too, doesn't he? Or a beard?
Is he running?
No, well, no, you don't ever see him
bro.
running.
Yeah.
You don't see the
That guy
hands
has
out
the perfect
straight.
run for him.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. It's a good run.
Yeah.
No, referring back to what you were saying, I'm kind of curious to know, like, this gentleman you speak of, because you were saying, like, you would hope that, like, these, let's just say, aliens, if they would come here and they wouldn't, they wouldn't just necessarily experiment on us and stuff like that. I would want to believe there is more than one kind.
You know, and that's something that Bob Lazar talked about.
Get what I'm saying? So, I mean,
like there's threatening ones, and then one there's just
just throwing out a number. Let's just say, let's say there's 5 different species of aliens. There might be more, might be less, there might be none. But I'm just saying, let's just say for a number, let's say 5 different.
Sure.
And these 2 species are going to definitely figure out how the human body and the biology of us works. And the other 3 are like, we come in peace, we want to be your friend. We want to know you on a, like almost a social level, like just getting to know like your character and how you guys process things. What's that movie with Kevin Spacey, K-Pax?
Yes. Yep.
K-Pax.
Yeah.
So like that kind of character was like his whole deal was just to just observe.
Right.
And just see how we interact and things like that. And the way that he supposedly was deciphered by humans as crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and with the one funny thing I was thinking about today, with the outbreak of this new virus that's going around that's got everybody freaked out, kind of makes you wonder if the government finally said, we aren't the only ones out there. What would happen if there would be a panic like what we have right now? I'd like to think not. I mean, I think we all kind of know that it's probably we're not the only ones out there, kind of thing. I mean, it would be stupid of us not to know.
It's not realistic.
Well,
it's arrogant.
Force,
it's actually not stupid. It's arrogant.
Yeah.
The Air Force actually released those videos, or no, actually they didn't. Somebody else did.
Yeah, you talking about the ones with the flight?
It was the guitarist for Blink 182 started a program.
He's big into UFOs.
He is, yeah, and he's forced a lot of the Freedom of Information Act to come out with this stuff. So much so, And they're starting to see more things coming out that they closed Project Blue Book, which was around the time that Area 51 came out. They had a whole special force through there that was designed to basically take the information, the claims, and do research on, if it was true or if it was not. They closed that back in, years ago. They've reopened it under a different name now, and, during discussions and stuff, congressional discussions said that, we're taking these claims seriously because of the videos that have been leaked. So it's not directly admitting that there are extraterrestrial beings. It's just saying, we're not disproving that there could be a chance. So
they try to get more technical when you release something like that, because the one thing they say for sure is it's unidentified flying object. That doesn't necessarily mean it's extraterrestrial.
Right.
So I mean, it could be something from our planet,
Yeah. I think that's the beginning of acceptance. Like, there are UFOs. It doesn't mean alien aircraft. It could be from another country they're experimenting on and all that. Mm-hmm. Actually, Rogan had one of the pilots on who I don't know if one of those recordings was I don't think it was, but he described an incident himself, and he's high up there in respect, so I don't think he would be lying or anything like that. All these abductions, we've talked about the Hills being abducted, that couple back in the 60s.
Yeah, I remember we did an episode.
Do you recall how long this guy was gone?
It never really said per se.
I think the movie was like just days, maybe.
Yeah, I mean it was a very short amount of time. Speaking of this stuff that they've been talking about alien abductions since World War II. Have you guys seen this famous picture? It happened in California, February 25th, 1942. An infamous false alarm saw military units unleash torrent of aircraft fire in the skies over Los Angeles. The claim was at the time that they saw something that they couldn't identify and went after it, thinking that it was Japan or Germany or something like that attacking. They never actually admitted to what it was, but they have photograph of it, and it just lit up the sky, and what they thought it was an alien alien craft entering into the skies and taking
bizarre battle.
Yeah.
It looks like one of two things. It looks like either, like those movie theater
right.
Big shows with the big lights that go in the sky and
right.
Wow, that would be terrifying to see.
Right. Nobody knew what it was. They tried to blame it off as aircraft balloon or something like that, but it caused enough concern that they started to shoot into the air, which means that they saw something.
Right.
And they say that aliens only come during events that are going to change the world. So, what did they see? What was the precursor? Obviously, Hiroshima and Nagasaki were it. So
sure, I know there's just so much mystery out there, and I would like to believe people who are, and obviously some of them are totally, I believe in some of them.
Yeah.
I think there's like valid points, and they're like a lot of respected people. Like, they wouldn't have a really big reason to lie. Obviously there's some that are like, I wanted attention, all that stuff. But yeah, unfortunately, it's all these secrets, causes. I almost think it causes panic, if rather than just tell people. Which there's panic on each side. But once you get all these secrets, it's like, where do you stop?
Right.
And that's got to be a heavy burden to carry.
And the fact that there's so many non-believers and naysayers and stuff like that, people being labeled as heretics, and one of the interesting things on this Travis guy was that they went back to the site where it actually happened, and they did biological studies, and they said where the beam shot down, there were higher levels of magnetic resonance, and the trees that were growing around it actually, their growth rings were doubled what they should have been everywhere else. So they said that typically when they see something like that, like a level of radiation like that, that would be indicative of something happening. So they looked over in Chernobyl where the biggest outbreak was, and they said the same type of thing happened with the evergreens over there. Instead of actually killing the plant, it made it grow exponentially quicker than what it normally would.
You said something. We did something about Chernobyl last time. We talked a little bit briefly about it.
It
Right?
was actually on Field of Geeks. I reviewed the series. I just watched it.
Right. What'd you think of it?
Oh, I loved it. I mean, it's terrifying, but I loved it, and I actually been really. I was already interested in it. It kind of spiked it again for me, and I started watching things on YouTube. Like you can go there certain levels of like you have a certain amount of time you can only be there, but there's actually these red flowers or plants or something that are from that, and they're you can't touch them or anything, but they're all red from this radiation, and it's really fascinating, but it's like a disguise. It's like it looks really cool and you want to touch it. It's like, you just can't.
What's interesting is the fact that animals found a way to survive.
Yeah, they adapted.
How humans can't survive through that is beyond me. But you have the Chernobyl pets, I guess they call them, and
What do you mean they survived?
Well, the dogs.
That got away from the
containment area. Because if you watch, what is it, episode 4 or something like that? Is like one of the toughest to watch. It's basically where they go in and they clear the area. Clear, I guess, is to kill anything that was still living there. So they've evacuated all the humans, but now because the humans left, they left their animals.
House pets.
So what I'm saying is, like, those animals are not radioactive?
They are. They actually have radioactivity, perfectly normal looking. Just their genetic makeup is completely different from everywhere else around the world.
I wonder how that... See, like, this is where my brain starts working. Like, if one, like, let's say a dog was radioactive and it mated with a non-radioactive dog, what would that offspring be like if the dog survived? I mean, it's so many things. Like,
well,
that's an interesting deal.
Fantasy-wise, it'd be a new species, but I mean, with humans anyway, it didn't go too well. Like,
make our first mutant dog.
Well, there was there have been studies that have been we have enough information and evidence of stuff that's gone on. Obviously in Japan where we dropped the atomic bomb twice over there. In Russia, where we've had multiple accidents of nuclear fallout, babies are born, after the events happen. Yeah. But the problem is that the people who may show no symptoms of, radioactive poisoning, have birth defects. Mm-hmm. So you get things like swelling of the head, where they look like a big basketball on the top, and they only live for a little short time.
Yeah, and superpowers.
Weird things like a third arm growing
that we know of.
Yeah. Damn. No Supermans yet.
Hey, maybe there's an X-Men team we don't know about. I mean,
You know what I'm saying? Maybe they kept the ones that who knows?
You never know. I don't know.
I'm just saying, like larger head, more brain.
Yeah. Well, it kind of looks like that. It looks like Brainiac, I guess you could say, from Superman, but or Green Lantern, wasn't it?
No,
Brainiac.
it's Superman.
Yeah. Superman?
Right. Yeah, Brainiac.
So yeah, I mean, but they don't. I mean, the brain function, they're
there's
mentally
one case,
retarded.
Where a lady's husband was a fireman on site of Chernobyl. She was pregnant, didn't disclose that, but she stuck by him as he deteriorated and absorbed his radiation, basically. Well, turned out the baby it was a stillborn, I believe. Or, stillborns, is stillborn alive once it's born for a little bit? It's not. I thought it was alive a little bit. Anyway, the mom was fine. The baby absorbed all the radiation and died. So
the mother has no radioactivity. Based on the
from what I've seen,
Interesting.
Right.
Yeah,
But it's
we need to. You know what? Maybe we should do something on radioactivity.
It's a very interesting thing. People who found it on the periodic table ended up dying from radiation poisoning. I mean,
really?
Oh yeah, that whole thing is just unique. It has no smell. You can't feel it or touch it. It's just there.
Right.
And it messes with you so quickly.
Super interesting. Yeah, Fire in the Sky. Definitely check that out. And I'm assuming it's possibly based on a book.
Yeah, it was actually written. I don't know who wrote it, but it was written and then made into a movie.
And this guy's still with us.
Oh yeah, he's definitely with us. He's 67 years old right now.
Gosh, so. Joe Rogan, if you're listening, which probably not, but I hope so.
He is. Yeah. You are, bro.
This guy, interview him. Come on, we need a 3-hour interview with this guy.
And Joe Rogan is the best of interviewers on a podcast that I know. So.
he definitely brings everybody on, it seems.
Yeah.
So that's super cool. But yeah, thanks, Mitch, for
Yeah.
that article. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was good, Mitch. I want to say, Josh, thanks for getting these chairs.
Yeah, right?
You're welcome. Like them?
Yeah.
We have upgraded the padding in our chairs.
Yes.
We've gone from a hard pew to a nice soft.
We've gotten big screens. Josh is pampering us down here.
You know what? I just don't pay my mortgage. And it's so cool.
Who needs to pay their mortgage, man? That stuff's overrated, bro.
Excuse me, got a knock on the door.
Yeah, man, we're good. We're good.
If you like this podcast, please join our Patreon account. And don't
Yes.
forget to click like at the
Oh, I
bottom
wish.
below.
I
Feel
wish.
free to donate to.
Yeah, the FOG studio is getting updated.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting in this chair and I'm like, oh, this is
Game
nice.
chair.
So how do you make $67,000 a year without paying taxes, Josh?
Yeah, Josh.
I'll tell you. Man, these handcuffs are heavy. My back hurts.
What is the IRS?
I'm talking through television from prison right now.
Oh, yeah. So, what I'm going to talk about is basically, and like, did like a little research on it and read it a little bit and studied a little bit. It's 5 truly terrifying ghost stories that prove Alton, Illinois, is the most, well, I jumped in there. Alton is the most haunted city in Illinois. But based on a lot of stuff that I was looking at, Alton's the most haunted place in the United States. There are so many stories. Like, this is just 5 stories.
See, ooh, man, ghosts.
I can't
Yeah.
narrow it down. Like, I was trying to figure out which one, like, to really do or which ones. So the one that kept reoccurring was, so like we have one about what is called the McPike Mansion. I'm gonna come back to that one maybe. I think it's this the First Unitarian Church, and basically, if this is the right one, yeah. So the First Unitarian Society was founded in Alton in 1836, and the church was built in 1878 and was rebuilt in the early 1900s after a fire. Things were fairly uneventful until one of the pastors, named Philip Mercer, decided,
Sorry.
Inside joke.
decided to take his own life
Oh.
at the church. His suicide did not make sense to anyone who knew him, and that raised questions. Since then, the building has been host to weird occurrences. Doors seem to lock and unlock on their own. There seems to be a male presence who wants people to leave. So, and in like the documentary I was watching, they brought up this same one. They went a little bit more in depth in it. So like this pastor, he was just like, he just took himself out. He went there and he just killed himself. And like people will say they'll feel like a hand on their shoulder, things like that. Also, there's something about Alton. They said there's no right or left turns.
What?
There's only up and down. There's only forward and back, I guess.
Oh,
So there's
weird.
probably curves,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah, the way that it was described is like there's no right or left turns.
What?
Because there's a tour guide. So like all these supernatural people, like your ghost hunters, your tarot card readers, you name it, anyone that's into the metaphysics, anything like that, they all go there. It's like a mecca.
So that's where they hone their skills, really.
Yeah, like I'm actually intrigued to go there. And I think I've been through Alton. Like
I'll
I think.
have to ask the.
Isn't it over by
ghost hunter
Springfield?
Yeah, I'll D Park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it over by Springfield? Like just offshoot of Springfield, Illinois?
Alton, Illinois is really, I thought it was like really close to St. Louis.
Oh, it could be. I could be.
Well,
wrong.
East St. Louis. I'm
Okay,
sorry. East St.
gotcha.
Louis. But I need to, because I know I've heard of Alton, and I don't think it's that difficult for me to get to. I might have to look on the map. But yeah, Alton, I've heard about that since I was a kid, but I never heard about any haunted issues. And like, I want to go. I mean, here's another story. Let's see what else we got here. The Milton Schoolhouse, located on the east side of Milton. Milton Schoolhouse is said to be haunted. No one can find newspaper accounts of this event, but the story goes that a little girl from the school, Mary, was attacked and murdered by the janitor. When he was suspected, he took his own life. Their ghosts are said to linger around the school. That's
I
another
always
story.
wondered that about school hauntings. Like, what's the story there? Like, were these kids all taken out there, or they're just child spirits coming to this place?
It sounds almost some Freddy Krueger type stuff.
Yeah, a little bit.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm saying, bro, it's like story upon story. Like, this place has more haunted stories than. It's just, it keeps going. That was what, number 3, and they have the Mineral Springs. The Mineral Springs Hotel opened in 1914, and it was advertised as the largest swimming pool in Illinois. The waters were said to have healing powers. The swimming pool is in the hotel basement, and it's totally creepy. You'll hear the sound of hard shoes hitting the pavement when there is nothing to make the sound. One account is that a couple was having an argument and the husband fell into the pool drowning. He is said to be waiting by the pool to get revenge on his wife.
God.
I'm sure she's long dead now.
He's I've been waiting for you.
Like, you're gonna keep waiting, buddy.
Yeah, no. I'm saying, like, if she's passed on, he's like, well, know what you did in that life? You know.
It just makes you wonder if, like, any females who venture in that area, he thinks it's his wife.
Oh yeah, and just
they
drowns
have
him.
a little account there.
I mean, like, I've never heard of a place that has so many different situations, and like I would think someplace like Louisiana, like New Orleans would have something like that, you know,
Yeah.
with that whole kind of like voodoo culture, things like that. Just there's so many other places. Alton, Illinois,
The most unassuming place.
yeah, it's kind of the mecca of like haunted places, haunted environments.
Where's Salem at? Do you recall?
Salem is northeast.
Oh, okay.
I do know that. I think it's
Is
Maine.
it New York? Oh, Maine.
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I knew it was up that
Yeah.
direction.
Right.
Yeah. So Salem. Yeah, and that was so-called witches sacrificed that were
Like
sacrificed.
trials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah.
So a lot of from my understanding, a lot of Wiccan practitioners like take a lot of, you know, they show a lot of respect to the Salem witches and
True.
things like that. It's kind of like their.
And there's probably right and left turns there, I assume.
You know, that
would
whole
hope.
thing is just very interesting because there was a book that came out back in the 1400s that basically outlined what a witch was, and you know, they were more of a homeopathic type person that believed that they could heal people and
Like people with oils now.
yeah, like, you know,
Yeah.
patchouli oil and stuff like
Yeah.
that. It's very interesting what they thought of these people, and really none of them were known to be witches. It's just that I could go and have an argument with you per se,
Right.
and then claim that you were a witch. Now you have to defend that you're not. Well, how do you defend that? There's no way.
Right. One of the thoughts is that, like, for example, like I always say, like, take the dumbest person you know
Right.
and put him
Why
or
are you
her.
looking at me?
Nothing, Josh. You're good. You're good. Just check out your shirt.
Thanks.
No, take the dumbest person you know,
Yeah.
and let's say you put him in like an estimated time of like when the so-called Jesus walked the earth or something.
Right.
So that so-called dumb person instantly becomes the smartest person on earth
Right.
because of knowledge obtained. So what I'm saying is, like, if you took your car through a village, it'd probably be ridden like some mighty beast of steel came through and made a mighty roar, you know, like
Yeah.
like, you know, rev that engine or something like that. Or if they saw a freaking plane, it would be like a steel dragon, you know, like. So what I'm saying is, I think a lot of those people may not necessarily be. They're misunderstood. They may have been ahead of their time.
Right.
So
right.
like they may have just figured out like, oh, you're sick. You know, maybe you shouldn't keep doing this. put disinfect it, clean that.
Yeah.
Or you hurt yourself. Let's disinfect it. Let's clean it. Let's put a little harness.
They were really the scientific doctors of their time.
Yeah, they're just trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Oh, like this makes sense to help you heal yourself.
Right.
And I think the population may have taken some of that stuff as hocus pocus. Like,
it's weird what kind of odd scares people can go through.
People fear what they don't understand.
Yeah. Ghosts is another thing. I mean, I don't know if that freaks me. That stuff freaks me out.
I love it.
I do believe that there is
something
energy that can be left on Earth, I suppose you could say, after somebody goes, and if it's negative enough or if there's unresolved issues, that things can stick around and fester. I think it would be fun, like if I didn't have the terrifying fear of getting tapped on the shoulder and nothing there.
Yeah.
I mean, you may be fine with it, but
no, it's I
go run it.
Like,
there's some stuff that you just can't explain. I mean,
well, I do believe, I believe science and what we would call magic, for lack of a better word, are one and the same.
Yeah.
I just feel that magic's just a little bit ahead of it. So there now, let's say I told you, oh, people can be invisible, and you'd be like, whatever, man. And now you'll find out military might have some kind of cloaking devices that use mirrors and da-da-da-da. And now that statement becomes true.
Right.
So that's all I'm saying. As I think we have those abilities, science has to catch up with it.
Yeah.
The way I was always explained is, you won't believe in it until the conscious mind signs off on it. So what that means is okay, if I said Mitch pigs fly, you'd probably be like, you're full of it. And you're justified in saying that. Now I would tell you to say that if outside
if
looking
you
in.
didn't actually see
Yeah. But then let's say a week later you're watching CNN and you see this little piglet flying in a circle with little wings on it, and they're talking about how they've been gene splicing piglets with birds.
As you have a piece of bacon in your hand.
Yeah, you're like,
I'm vegetarian.
you said I could have got this with wings?
Thanks, Buffalo Wild Wings.
I feel like I'm getting cheated here.
I want that for dinner.
Hot wing bacon.
Right?
Bro,
badass.
that's why they did it. That's why they did it. That's why they did it. But now your conscious mind believes in it, and now you'll sign off on it because you've got the proof. You have the evidence to invest in it.
Imagine for the first time going to a tribe that's never seen anything outside of that, right? They haven't progressed to the Stone Age even. And all of a sudden somebody comes in with a cell phone.
Oh yeah, they're freaking out.
Imagine what kind of voodoo they think
you're talking to the gods, man.
Right?
You're talking to the gods, bro.
Like all of a sudden you're trying to put some sort of relative meaning to what you know to something that has no explanation to it.
And you show them the Domino's app. You're like, what?
Hey, it's a Siri.
It's on its way.
Who are these people? And Siri talks back.
They're like,
they are an indigenous tribe.
They get the army ready. He's coming. Like, armor up and everything.
Oh yeah.
Guy doesn't know what,
What's this Google?
That's what I'm saying. Google.
He's here. Okay, I was looking up Ghostbuster film Afterlife.
Right.
I think it takes place in Illinois, so I wonder if there's
Alton. If it takes place in Alton, that's a boss.
I don't
that's
think
cool.
It's a fictional town, but I'm pretty sure it takes place in Illinois.
Maybe it's based on that.
It might be a stretch, but also it might be like, hey, let's pay homage to this freakiness that's happening in this town.
I like it.
What if you ever when Mitch isn't fighting crime, he drives people. What if you ever get an assignment to go to this town? Are you going to be a little hesitant now?
Do it, Mitch. Take me with you.
Won't
Dude, I was
remember.
freaking out last night
Take
driving.
Juan with you.
I mean,
I'll go with you.
I would take you.
I love it.
If I see you run, then I'm definitely running.
Mitch,
Yeah,
no go, bro.
This is real.
Start the engine, bro. That thing had fangs, man. That thing had fangs.
I mean, I probably would stay at a more recent building than maybe like an old story hotel or something like that. You know,
Sure.
keep myself safe. But Yeah, I mean, you know.
You said last night something?
Oh God, last night. I don't know if I'm just letting this virus thing get to me. It's playing because I went out. People are still out. They're all going to parties. They're all drinking at bars. Nobody's stopping doing what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And yet the whole government's freaked out. I mean, have we gotten to this point now where we're just like, screw it. If it's our time, it's our time?
That's kind of where I am.
I mean, these guys are coming back in from the places that they're at. They're like, okay, guys, hand washing time. And they'd bring out their, their little
sanitizer
gel and sanitizer gel, all wipe up. And
I think it's a cash grab, man. I feel like sanitizer and toilet paper is just like, finally, Charmin's like, now we're getting it. Now we're getting paid, man.
It's all intertwined, though. It's like we can profit off this, even if let's say it's 100% what everyone is saying, or a lot of people are saying it is. Like, there's always gonna be people out there like, we can get bucks. Like, we got products here. Get Perel, get all that stuff.
Maybe the true story is if rubbing alcohol fixes the outside boo-boo, drinking beer will fix the inside.
That is excellent logic. You are the new Stephen Hawking. You just nailed this, man.
Right? I just dropped a truth bomb.
You just dropped.
I will admit, I was feeling
some serious knowledge
at one time.
Mind blown.
My wife looked up like, "Oh, if you drink some whiskey," I'm like, "Let's do it."
Yep.
Like, okay.
You need to hear what she's got to say.
Yeah.
I like that.
I was like, sounds like science.
So, what is that? The Jerry Maguire? You had me at hello.
Yeah.
You had me at whiskey.
You had me at whiskey.
I get to drink. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So if you put a little, yeah.
Tito's just came out and said don't use our alcohol as hand sanitizer because it's not high enough proof.
What do you need? Like 80 plus proof, right?
Everclear.
It's got to be 60% alcohol. So I don't know if Tito's is 40%. So it's not there. It needs another 20.
Tito's is tequila.
Vodka.
It is?
I think so.
What about vodka?
I don't drink. I only drink like whiskey and bourbon.
Yeah, stay away from vodka, man. That stuff's.
Yeah, I haven't recovered like my wanting to drink. Well, I'll have a vodka and cranberry juice once in a while.
Okay.
Pretty good. But
that's pretty good.
You have one bad night on vodka and you're done.
I've had.
Yeah.
I think we should do a White Claw episode.
Oh, what?
A White Claw episode.
We should do a White Claw episode.
You know
why?
I think you. We were recording when I tried it, and I didn't.
I can't do it alone. I can't do it alone. I can't experience it by myself.
We can have a drinking game when we see a movie.
I'm game. I'm just saying, like, there has to be, because I'll try it for all my friends out there, women, that.
Don't worry. The guys that I was driving last night, and this was a bachelor party.
Yeah.
Had White Claw in there.
What?
Yeah. Like they were down in White Claw.
I've never seen a dude with White Claw.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah. No,
once, but
pounding White Claw.
that was kind of like a taste test type approach.
Yeah.
Like, I get that, but like, what are you trying to watch your figure, bro? Like,
Maybe a case for the
White Claw
party,
just,
yeah, no. They were down in White Claw and Bush Lights.
You're not gonna get lucky holding a White Claw.
No.
That's all I think. Like,
yeah,
you're trying to pick up chicks and you're like, hey babe, and you're holding a White Claw. It's just like, well,
maybe they're all trying to find you to touch.
She's not excited anymore.
I don't know.
You just can't.
If we do that, I'm icing somebody.
You can't. Well, you can't with White Claw. It's just. It's the unmanly drink.
Well, it's like drinking Smirnoff Ice. You know?
You know what though?
Yeah.
I'm gonna defend that.
Oh. Okay.
I'm gonna defend it because when you're deep into an after party and it's 3 a.m. and there's Smirnoff Ice.
Okay, I'll buy that.
I'll buy that. It's like, what do you got? That's all I got. Okay, fine.
Yeah. But would you go for a White Claw if it was like that?
No.
You'd be like, I'm done.
Because
the night's over.
Toilet water. Here we go.
I'm the single man here. I'm the single man here. Like, I feel that White Claw will decrease my chances. Smirnoff Ice still keeps me on the field. That's just how I feel.
Well, there goes that sponsor right now. Shoot.
But White Claw, if you want to sponsor us, you guys are awesome. You're amazing. And send it by the caseload. We'll drink it all.
We'll just put something else in the can when we're like recording. Like this.
No, Josh. No, we would never do anything like that.
No, I was just saying if we were like terrible people. We would
Yeah,
say.
a terrible person would do that.
No.
We would never do that to you, white.
You know, I've been trying to hack Jack Link's Little Chubs over at the Field of Geeks podcast, and still to this day, I've not gotten a case of those.
What is it?
Jack Link's Little Chubs. They're like the little smoky, like.
Oh, I've seen those.
They were just a fat piece of that. And they're really good.
The unknown factor is, what are they?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, but I mean, I've been hawking that for years, and everybody's getting mad at me.
How about we do it? We're gonna make up an episode on a recording right now. Let's do this. I want to do a food and drink episode of the unknown. Like unknown foods and drinks that like cool things and like, you know, when you were
things, all that.
Yeah, just like, I mean, anything we can think of, like the super unknown food edition.
Oh, you know, we could do like a lot of like lady drinks, like Box Bordeaux.
Yeah.
And a wine spritzer.
Spritzer. I like that. I like that a lot. Something about that word.
We'll have to disclose the origins of these drinks and so on before we get drunk. And
if we're like there and we're like halfway in the episode, we're like,
this is crap.
White Claw's not that bad. It's okay.
After this white wine spritzer,
I already had 4. That's fine.
This Franzia is nice.
Oh, gosh. That's fantastic.
I will say this real fast, and then we're going to go into you, Josh.
Yeah.
Sure.
Alcohol is the only, I guess, drug that you keep your decision-making skills. That's what I was told. I don't know. I think it was by law enforcement or something like that. So basically, you know that you're doing something wrong. You just don't care.
Oh.
It does remove that factor, yes.
It just it removes caring.
Yeah.
Giving a damn.
Yeah.
You know. So basically, like, you may not be in your right mind if you're on other narcotics or something like that. But with alcohol, no, I know.
Yeah.
This is hazardous to my health. I know I shouldn't slap that person. I know I shouldn't do this, but I'm going to do it anyways.
Right.
It's the American way.
I've always been able to stop myself from driving, though. That's one thing I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one thing that...
I hope everyone...
It impairs your judgment.
Yeah. If you are going to drink in excess, please either call a cab, call a limo
Be
company.
responsible. Yes,
Stay
call
where
a
you're
limo
at.
company.
Yeah.
Yes. Call Mitch.
Call Mitch.
He'll be there.
I'll pick you up for a nominal fee.
There you go.
Yes.
That you won't care to pay.
You won't care. You're drunk.
You'll just hand Mitch your wallet, and that's it.
Here's some money, man.
I'll stop at every gas station. God, this thing gets horrible gas.
It'd be like $200 to cover it. Cash.
Fill up on M&M's.
Yeah, man. That's fine. How about $300, man? I want to give you a good tip. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's the standard. That's company standard.
Yeah, I mean, actually, you're kind of like lowball. I usually go higher than that, but that's fine. I'll take it. I'll take it 3.
You're kind of lowballing.
But it's okay, man. I just want to make sure you get home safely.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
Well, that's fine.
You're kind of lowballing.
This one's... Sadly, this one's going to be kind of a downer, but it's an unknown thing I think a lot of us should be aware of, and I'm sure most of us are. But, you know, like, growing up, you know, there was all that, threat of child abduction. You know, I remember I was freaked out when my mom would...
Oh, the Johnny Gosh stuff.
Yeah, because that was kind of like our generation that really, it hit hard. And, like, my mom would pull into a gas station, leave me in the car. Like, anytime I was left alone in a car... I was
on high alert.
Scared. Yeah, and I had my doors locked and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And the thought used to be you get kidnapped and killed. You never, as a kid, I guess, thought of the middle, which is molestation, all that jazz.
Yeah,
terrible stuff. But as I've gotten older, and all of us, of course, it's become even more terrifying because it doesn't just stop at that. Like, a lot of these people are in servitude, basically, for a lifetime, sexual slave, So with all of that going around, I'm a father now, so it does hit home harder, and, just the threat it's terrifying, You don't ever want children to be victims of that. I found an article about UPS. They're beginning to train their delivery drivers on how to spot signs of human trafficking. So,
Oh, wow.
and I applaud them for doing this. And unfortunately, the community, I think people are aware, but the training these guys are going to get, they're going to be able to. The goal is anyway. They want these drivers to be the eyes and ears of the community.
Did they give any idea on like what signs that they look for?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
They're teaming up with the Truckers Against Trafficking to develop like a training program, and the program's called Freedom Drivers Project. And so the lead of their program basically said, traffickers are continuing on ignorance of the general public to think they are selling prostitutes or hookers. They are not being voluntary. Basically, it's sex slavery. So drivers will be aware of these signs. There's also like monikers on some of these people who appear to be, like I said, a prostitute or a hooker, because that's what a lot of people don't realize is, and unfortunately the criminal justice system doesn't realize is, they get all these, they bust them on all these accounts, but they're really victims of human trafficking. They've been victims since they were kids. This is like, so they're victims, but they're treated like criminals, which, I understand they're breaking the law, but if they were forced into this line,
they have no education.
Yeah, they don't know any better.
Exactly. So that's
rehabilitation, I should say.
Right. That's the main issue, and there are organizations that are trying to make that more aware to the law enforcement and so on. But to look for signs, it's like pimp monikers basically. They have something on their arm or anywhere on the body that says like daddy or moneymaker. That's a sign, I guess, right there.
Well, what about those teenage girls that have daddy on the back of their tattoo? Not to make light of that.
Right. Well,
Interesting.
Hey,
that just sounds like good old-fashioned daddy issues.
I don't know. Who knows? I mean, they could be victims. Who knows? But 130,000 employees will be trained nationwide. And drivers will have cards on them that has the national hotline number. So when they spot things like this, they can give it a call.
God, you remember when they used to have Blue Star homes?
What's a Blue Star
That was
home?
Stranger Danger, right?
A Blue Star home was a home that you had to actually sign up for this through the city of or the police station. But a Blue Star home was a safe place. So like you go over to like if you go to Come and Go or you go to QT and you see that sign that says safe place and you kind of see like this big
sign,
arm,
right?
Yeah, just a safe place. It's like if you're being abducted, if you're in trouble, you can go quietly to the person that's working there and tell them what's going on, and they contact the police and stuff like that. Well, the Blue Star home was basically the same premise, but it was just an individual's home that they had the wherewithal to call the cops to report things to keep them
So you
safe.
could just you could be running down the street and you see someone with the
and it used to be right in the
Star
front window.
kind of sign somewhere, and you could just
knock on the door and they'd let you in and you'd be safe.
Which I'm not sure if that even exists anymore.
I don't think it does.
No.
I don't think there's just
But-
people let people in their house like that anymore.
No,
Unfortunately, we're all kind of become hermits and
Yeah, we're paranoid.
not so welcoming of
Yeah.
as some
Right,
people
but I'm
are,
saying
yeah.
there's always someone that misuses things like that.
Right, yeah.
So now I can get in your home, and now I'm in your home. Now I can rob you. Or
Like
whatever.
so many places have that sign now of safe place.
I think it would have to be a public place.
Yeah.
It just has to be.
Yeah,
for
It
sure.
can't be anyone's
for sure.
home.
20 million people worldwide are victims of human trafficking, and the numbers are pretty staggering. It's more than the population of London, New York, and Los Angeles combined. And the signs for human trafficking are basically the recruitment, transportation, harboring or purchase of persons for the sole purpose of exploration. And a lot of them get sucked into this lifestyle through
Right.
like love, acceptance, a better future promised, security, money, opportunity, all that stuff.
What did they say? Interstate 80 that travels across the entire state is one of the biggest travel lines.
Yeah, I believe
for
so.
that.
Yeah,
80's massive.
Yeah.
yeah, and it's a hidden crime. It's got there's a lot of language barriers, and they themselves are they fear their traffickers and they fear the law, and they don't know where to turn to basically. So yeah, the International Labor Organization estimates labor and human trafficking is a $150 billion-dollar industry worldwide. That's why a lot of people are, I mean, I think they're scumbags, you know, to take part in that, obviously, but it generates so much money. It's like, it makes you think, like, I wonder how many people are involved, which, you know, anymore you'll have a story break about...
Well, Epstein, you know, was one of those.
Yeah, that was, he's got an island, and, it's just...
So I guess I have to ask the question, as I'm not very educated on this, what's the difference between human trafficking and prostitution? I know, like, obviously, other than one's maybe done by force, and the other one may be done by choice?
I think that's the big difference.
Yeah, like prostitution, I think people think is an adult who they are like, I need money, I'm going to do this and make money. Versus human trafficking, they're brought in, they're slaves to...
They're making money for others.
Yeah.
Yes, they're doing sex acts and all that stuff, and they become maybe they break away from their owner and they become prostitutes.
Because that's all they know.
Yeah, exactly. So there has to be better screenings, I guess you could say. But yeah, I think a lot of that is evolved into prostitution and you know, all that.
Do they give you a rough average age of these human traffickers? The people that are victims
1 to 18
of it?
years old.
What?
And that means
That's heavy, bro.
there are some, you know, who are 25 and older now who've been victims since they were like maybe 4. So, you know, it's like they basically cut off at 18. And when these people age out, they probably, who knows, push them aside, and that's when they get into prostitution.
This is how you turn into Commando or Rambo, man.
Yeah.
I know.
That's some heavy stuff.
I know.
I'm not a parent, but I'm an uncle, and whoa, like, yeah.
It's terrifying.
I think
truck stops are big. Like you
Yeah.
hear about truck stops. You know, there'll be semis with them in the trailer, all this stuff, and it hopes. You know, I fantasize about having like a group of people who look like kids, but they're like really an assault team, and they're heavily trained, and they just take these guys out. You know,
Right.
It's like, you know, they're bait.
Yeah.
It's like, got you, and then they find out where, you know, they all are. But of course, that's Hollywood fantasy there. But you know, I'm sure some of that could actually happen. I you know, if I was asked my ideas taken seriously, I'd be like, yeah, let's recruit some people who look seriously young, and they're gonna be killers, basically. Send them out and get the job done, or they're ex-victims. Train them, help them lead the way, and who knows, maybe that's happening. But I have another list of indicators. This is within children and adults to look for. So basically, if someone appears disconnected from family, friends, you know, community, church, let's say, or if they stop attending school, they're running away from home a lot, sudden or dramatic change in behavior, engaged in commercial sex acts, disoriented or confused, you know, signs of mental or physical abuse. They have bruises, various stages of healing. They're fearful, timid, or submissive. And then also they're, you know, if they look like they've, you know, if they look frail, like if they're being denied of food, water, or sleep or medical care. Those are some other signs. But there's a lot of things to look for. And this just kind of opened my eyes more to the issue. But for anyone out there who, you know, if you think you find people like this, of course you can call 911. And of course, if you're a victim of this, you can call 911, or you can call the National Human Trafficking Hotline, which is 1-888-373-7888. And also you can text Be Free. So there's those, you know.
Is there a different ratio of male to female victims?
That's something I didn't look up, but I'm just guessing. It's females up there.
Predominantly.
I'm guessing. Yeah. I mean, it just makes you, as I've come to know more about human trafficking, you know, you've always seen, like, sadly at rest stops, you'll see the missing posters.
Right.
And it's like, they're not necessarily dead. Like, a lot of those could just be victims. Like Johnny Gosh here in West Des Moines, that's something that I think his mom has said. He's come back a couple times to see her, and that's what happened to him. He got abducted, put into human trafficking, and he got out of it. But, you know, he's just trying to, I guess, just survive at this point, and doesn't really want to come forward and share his story. You know, there's that possibility there. But of course, all of this is under the 13th Amendment. the U.S. Constitution, which is the slavery and involuntary servitude, which means it shall not exist. So
Right,
people
right,
are caught, it shall not exist. Punishment is, of course, you pay a debt, and maximum prison terms are 20 years, which
I think that's a little low.
yeah, I do too. And that's some states are not as harsh, so it's a serious issue. But yeah, I applaud. Overall, I applaud UPS for doing that. I think more companies should take advantage. If it probably doesn't take too much time to just observe more of what's going on.
Oh, of course.
And you can report that. Even in our professions, like you work at a gym, right? So you encounter so many people, and who knows? I mean,
you can get a vibe off someone. I could tell.
I think everyone should be, educated somewhat, and this definitely has educated me. In this article I found, well, I will say the article just basically gave the premise of what's going to do, and I went further and looked up statistics and things like that. I missed a few, but I was curious. I just wanted to know, it's a terrible ordeal.
It's an interesting subject matter. I never really put much thought about it. What's the movie with
Taken?
Taken?
Yeah.
Right. You want a Liam Neeson.
We need
more people like that, who have the ability to track down and take out.
Yeah, I'm not going to fly overseas, but I mean...
No.
Yeah.
Well, unless it's your daughter and you're confident.
Yeah, I got,
You've got people that will tell you exactly where to go.
I got a few unique
if
skills.
we could have that that'd be great.
I got a level of skills, he says. What did he say?
Set of skills.
Certain set of skills.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will find you.
I will find you.
Kill you.
Yes.
Good luck.
Yes. Click. Yes. And then 2 more terrible sequels after that. No. I like the first one a lot, though.
First one was good. Second one was all right. Third one I haven't seen.
Third one's okay.
That's what I fantasize, though, about.
The second one's good, I think.
Yeah.
I like the second one.
How to resolve this problem is like, we need people like that. And you can train people. And who knows, they might actually have groups that are doing the work,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Well, you have neighborhood watches and
Yes.
stuff like that set up for those kind of things,
But a lot of us, sadly, with technology, we're becoming more inclusive, and it's
it's one of those things though that you see an older guy with a younger girl and you think, oh, that's just his daughter. So,
Right.
Unless you are really knowing or looking for certain specific signs, you probably don't even know what's happening.
Right, and it's hard to trust other. I'll admit, it's hard to trust other parents. Like when my daughter goes to a sleepover, it's like, what's Dad gonna be? I just
Right.
think.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's tough. It can really, just like this whole virus going on, it can really mess with your head, and you can be overprotective. And of course that'll won't end well. But
That's just a sign of a good parent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she's just a good parent.
We're helicopter parents.
I'd rather
Try.
I'd rather have someone be overprotective than under.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially when it comes to children. Like,
Yeah.
you don't want anything to happen to them. They're still learning, man.
I know. Everyone out there, though, just I think this helps you appreciate the UPS driver even more, and FedEx drivers. Perhaps they're doing the same thing. Who knows? But I applaud that. That's great.
That is good.
Because if you think about it, they get to see all kinds of sides of the community. They're always going in and out of the neighborhoods, dropping off packages, and
So are they saying, like, what they see on the street, or when they stop at someone's house and they put a package there
just basically everywhere.
and someone signs it, like, if there's
I
any
think it's
activity?
just dropping off. But if they happen to drop off to a business, or if they're by a busy street and they see someone walking the
So they're just looking for certain signs.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And they call that number if they see anything that they think is suspicious. So, yeah, I definitely applaud that. And
Interesting.
I mean, that's an unknown thing that we all know about now. So it makes you think if these gas stations and other places have the safe place, and they're trained to identify that.
I would think that they would be. That would be a part of the training.
For sure.
I don't get the same vibe for gas station people. I think gas station people...
you look at some of those gas
I think
stations.
gas station people is like, just grab your stuff, get out of here.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I think people mess with gas station people so much, unless it's like just obviously that's not right.
Like Kevin Smith's Clerks, I wouldn't see them being like observant.
Exactly.
They'd be like,
They would be
"Smokes,
observant,
get
like,
out of
here, scram.
Right.
Like,
Have a good night.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, UPS, I can see that.
Obviously, some of them aren't going to probably be as proactive.
Yeah,
and
but I'm just saying,
that's just the way it goes.
Giving a damn, not about the situation, just giving a damn about like, okay, yeah, of course I'm gonna look for that. As this prick's in front of me and being rude and yelling at me.
Right, or a girl answers the door. Let's say you have to sign the package, and you observe she's got a tattoo that has that on there.
And she wrote to help me on the sheet.
Or that too, yeah, definitely. It's like they definitely have a number now because it's if you don't have the info, you can just be like, don't need to worry about it, or I'll get to it and you forget, things like that. But they're supposed to have these cards on them. They go in their wallets or their visors in their trucks. So, yeah, I thought it was a cool program. I applaud it. So, the more you know.
That's wild.
Yeah. Have to take it down to a serious note.
No worries. No, it's an important topic.
It's a cool thing. I mean, turning it around, in something positive, like that's a really cool thing. And this just reminds you to, if you got a kid that seems to want to run away, obviously most parents, I think, want to get to the heart of the problem. But some are just like, it's just part of them growing up, But it's like, it might not be. It might be something else at play. And look into it. Look into it. Know who your kids' friends are. And,
yeah.
Like my daughter's got a phone now, so she wants all these apps, and we definitely have not allowed her to have a few.
You regulate it.
Yeah, like definitely not Facebook or Instagram, but
those things make you depressed, in my opinion.
I mean, if it was up to me,
you can only read so much Facebook.
Well, it's not even that. I think it's harder on young ladies than it is on young men, because there's a lot of image ideas that are going on in women's heads. Like they said, when they took away the likes off of Instagram, it bothered girls more than it bothered males.
Yeah,
because of attention and things like that. And
it's like I'm look what I'm wearing.
Yeah, like
men do it too, but
we do. But guys, I think have an ability
more like food. Like look at this. Look at this steak.
When we go over the top, like guys will check each other quicker. I think. Dude, what are you doing? Like that's dumb. Stop. Like we do that. Whereas young ladies, I don't think they do that with each other as much. They kind of in this constant kind of competitive deal. And like, oh, she's got X amount of likes. Well, then I'm gonna put this on and get more likes than her, and da. And it's more like a competition, and it's giving them that dopamine.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, it's a validation tool, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
As they get addicted to it.
I mean, young men do it too.
Yeah.
It's just
they're so addicted to it. They're actually out functioning with their family, and it's like, oh, I got to do this real quick.
And then the problem is that you've got these closed groups, these private groups in Facebook where you can vent, and if somebody doesn't like what you're saying, you're not having to face them face to face and say, hey, I don't like what you're saying. It's easier to
talk,
just and so there's a lot of bullying that goes around, and if you don't get the validation, it's demeaning,
Which is a new threat to my kids, and if you have nieces and nephews, like bullying used to stop at school, now we can continue.
Right.
Like a kid under that all the time.
It could be from Tokyo. Like a kid could be bullying your kid, from another country. I mean, I've made this argument where it's like when we came up, because we're roughly around the same age, when the internet started to take off.
Right.
So we have this mindset of we still kind of have an understanding of the world prior to.
Right.
And so our communities back then was like people represented their town, their neighborhood, their city, their state, and so it was like that's when you would have so many different kinds of slang and things like that, because this is how we talk in our neighborhood. If you went out to New York, they would talk different. You went to Miami, they would talk different. You went to LA, they would talk different. They had their own little thing. Now, I think the kids are dealing with their community is the world.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Their community is the planet.
Yeah.
So when something becomes trendy, it's not just their neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's Earth.
Yeah.
So they have a bigger playground, and that old expression, big fish in a little pond. Even if you're a popular kid, you're a big fish in a little pond. Now you're going against whales. Now you're going against sharks.
Right.
Yeah.
You're going against, massive people, and you're trying to keep up with that person.
Mhm.
So this person has how many followers? This person has this.
Right.
And that's their level of currency now. It's a level of their currency is based on a certain level of attention.
Mhm.
And they
Right.
need that attention.
They'll ask me, like, Dad, because they know I do podcasts and stuff. They're like, how many followers do you have? And I'm like, I'm not going to tell them I have 2 million because I don't want them to be, have their mind blown. So I just tell them not too many.
Oh, not 2 million? Oh, okay.
Do we have? Oh.
No.
We do.
Oh, okay.
It's actually 5.
Yeah.
He just doesn't want to make their
Billion.
brains explode.
I mean,
5, yes.
Billion.
The thing of it is that, people project a fakeness. Like the world is great.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's
And
going
they're
great.
great.
And then when
Their life's
something
terrible.
happens personally, on a personal level to them, they don't understand why they don't know how to deal with it because all they see is nobody has any problems online.
Right.
And so nobody teaches them how to deal with these personal issues.
Yeah,
Because-
it's like seeing a happy family on
Yeah,
Facebook,
nobody
and
wants
then
to deal with it.
You go over for a gathering, and they're
Right.
yelling at their kids and
Right.
all that, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess we're very similar.
Yeah, we haven't. I mean, I don't think a lot of young people are given the opportunity to deal with adversity.
Right.
So, like, their era, and I would say that's actually my younger brother's era, their era was the era of the participation trophy.
Yeah.
And what that means is as long as you show up, you're a winner. And like, I come from a very competitive mindset. So I'm like, I could never compete against someone who's getting a participation trophy. I'm too much of an asshole. Like, I'm too much of an asshole. Because if I see you with a participation trophy and I won that tournament or whatever it is, I'm going to slap on it. What are you doing with that, loser? What are you doing with that? Because, like, in my mind, I'm like, I want you to feel that because that's how I would feel if I didn't win that competition. It forces me to work harder. It
Right.
forces
Yeah.
me.
Losing helps you grow.
Yeah.
You can.
Right. I mean, I competed as a kid, all in wrestling, since I was a kid, football, wrestling, track. And so I had this weird thing with my mother because she would keep all of my trophies.
Mhm.
I did not. Only reason why she even got my trophies is because she made me bring them home. I didn't care about the trophy. I cared about winning, but I didn't care
Yeah.
about the trophy. And so she would ask me, she's like, you always throw away your second places. You keep your third. And I was like, well, yeah. She's like, why do you do that, Juan? I was like, because there's nothing worse than the feeling of second place to me. And she's like, but you keep your third. I was like, well, third means I'm not there yet. I got growth.
So it reminds you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I need
Keeps
to
you
work
humble.
harder. I need
Yeah.
to train. I need to train harder. I need to get there. To me, second is like I'm at the mountaintop.
Yeah. Yeah.
I made it. He's just better. And I don't
Yeah.
need that reminder staring at me in the face on a regular basis in some trophy case she put together for me. And I'm like, I can't look at that, Mom, please.
Yeah.
I can't. Whereas I'll see third and I'm like, okay, I need to go the extra mile. But even just me developing that for myself, I may look at my nieces and nephews and I'm like, are they given that opportunity to just have to evaluate like how to strategize to get better, how to persevere, how to get better at this, how to, instead of being like, well, I participated, so I'm gonna win anyways. You know, like
Yeah.
there's no I'm trying to find the right word. There's no need to push yourself. Like this is how we make better people. I think we make people better just because you're great thinkers, you're great creators, you're blah blah blah. They had to meet some kind of level of adversity to learn how to get out of that adversity to get better.
And the problem is that history is always written in the eye of the winner. You know, I mean, you get these participation trophies are horrible because, like you said, there's no drive to push yourself to that next level. So when you get into the workforce and you get fired, you don't understand why. Well, I tried. Well, no, you didn't. You didn't try hard enough.
It just
And
teaches
so-
you how to be mediocre.
Yeah, it just there's no drive to be better than you were yesterday.
It's like an overcorrection,
Right.
the trophy. Like, I think the wise thing would be like, this doesn't mean you're a loser. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you just need to work harder next time to.
Maybe it does mean you're a loser.
Well,
And
you know
it's
what I mean.
okay.
Like,
Yeah.
like give up. You're not gonna ever.
Right,
achieve
but
that,
but I'm saying like it's more like to me like an acceptance. Like it's okay.
Mhm.
You know, like there's this guy that used to come to my job, older gentleman, awesome, German, like pure German, that came from Germany.
Oh, cool.
Blah blah blah, and for some reason I always meet like really tall German people and befriend them. That being said, he was telling me how he raised his children and how he had to teach his own children how to raise his grandchildren, because he's like, we in my generation, his generation, he meant, like they made you have to figure things out, you know. And he's like, my children, and I think he was implying that his children are too Americanized, but yeah,
Yeah,
he said, but my children, you know, like they coddle my grandchildren every time. So like he was saying, he was watching his grandson stumbled and fell, trying to figure out how to walk, stumbled and fell. So he's like, I just looked at him, and then my daughter came over and tried to pick him up. He's like, don't touch him, leave him alone, because the kid's looking up, he's crying and he's looking up at his mother, and he's looking at his grandfather like, you gonna pick me up, da 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 da.
Oh,
He's
I
like,
see.
yeah, and he's like looking at him, and he's like, don't touch him. And the kid's crying and crying and crying, and he's like, he'll stop. And then he stops, and then finally the kid like kind of puts his arm on like a counter or a desk or whatever's near him, and then he starts standing up on his own 2 feet. He's like, that's the opportunity you have to allow that child to grow through. If you go and rush and pick him up ASAP, he or she never gets the opportunity to learn that. You know what I'm saying? And that's the same thing like how I see the participation trophy. Like, let them lose, let them know how that feels. You got to learn how it feels.
To get knocked down.
Yes.
It's like in the workforce. You get knocked down, you just go find another job.
Yeah.
No, that's too easy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why Rocky movies are so big.
Yeah.
And Creed movies, because Rocky keeps getting his ass kicked, and then he finally, you know, he keeps standing up. He keeps standing up, and that whole idea, like, just people keep standing up and fighting through adversity.
Right.
Actually, I think we're making better people by approaching things that way.
Right. Well, I don't mean like you're guaranteed to get another job easily, but what I mean is like you have that drive, like I'm going to go work to get another job.
Yeah.
I'm going to go search. I'm not going to let it come to me, or I'm not going to, you know, collect this or whatever. I'm going to I'm going to, you know, how do you say it, dust myself off or.
Yeah, and keep it moving.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of just like withering away with like, why and, you know,
Well, no,
them, not me.
I got younger relatives,
Yeah.
you know, cousins, siblings, who don't have that drive.
Right. And
all the
I
time.
think a lot of us don't.
They lose their job and they're just like, well, why is the world coming down on me? Why is it?
Right.
And I'm like, go get another job.
Hits them harder, really. You know.
Yeah.
You know,
that drive.
Yeah.
And we have a whole new class of new
Validation.
hires and stuff like that, and when they make their first mistake on the phone or when they screw up something, they freak out. Oh, I'm gonna get fired. I'm gonna get written up. And I go over there and I show them what they did wrong and stuff like that, and they're like, "Am I gonna get written up?" I was like, "No, but did you learn from it?"
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I said, "Just don't do it again."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I walk away, and that's it.
Grow.
If you're given the opportunity to learn from your mistakes and make mistakes,
Yeah.
that's how you grow. You don't grow from making a mistake, getting written up, then getting fired. There's no way to learn.
Exactly.
Actually, I ran into that in my current job. The young lady that took over as manager, she would disapprove of something, and she just thought she had to write people up.
Yeah.
And so when we had a group meeting at another facility, I spoke up for another coworker, and I was like, well, if you're quick like that, that's how you lose people.
Yeah.
And, you know, and the young lady's younger than me, but I'm like, that's how you start to lose people. People don't trust in you. People come to me and talk to me. I'm like, I'm not no manager.
Yeah.
But they'll come to me and talk to me and be like, hey, like, what do you... what do you think about this situation, man? Like, how would you, do you think that was fair? I'm like, no, I wouldn't go that route. I'm always going to ask you why, you know? Even the people that are in the power positions, I don't think also know how to wield their power. So what I'm saying is like, I've had this happen at a previous job that I walked away from. Cause I was like, goats, you know, so I walked away from it because she was trying to wield her power and she thought that writing people up where I wasn't doing anything incorrect. I'll defend myself on that. But she wielded it that way, and I said, and I even said to her, and I said, do you ever ask why someone may have done something that you didn't like? Do you I rescheduled something, and she wanted it to be at a particular time, but at the same time she had said, hey, you have the right to change the schedule, just give me an early enough notice. I felt I did that, but whatever. I think she just wanted to have it out with me anyways. That's another story. But what I'm saying is, I asked her, I was like, well, that person may have had a bad day. Do you know if that person's significant other might be sick, or someone might be passed away, or they may have gotten a flat tire? Real life happens.
Yeah.
And human beings are not robots. So like, and instead of being like quick, I'm gonna write you up. You know what I'm saying? There's some people who feel they have to be in control of other individuals with like this iron fist. And I'm not necessarily saying at the same time I'm not trying to be your best friend either.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, okay, let me know why this happened. And then if I can understand why it happens, then I'm like, okay, that's some real life stuff. That's totally understandable why you had this situation. Now, if the things you can do, see, this is where we teach, like the things you can do to make this work in your favor is, if this kind of situation happens again or something along these lines, please just drop us a line, contact us, let us know what's going on. Text us. I know you don't want to maybe share all your personal information, that's fine, but let us know that, like, okay, there was an emergency, there was something you had to deal with, there's a family personal problem that kicked in, and then that way it's like, okay, we get it, and and then we can evaluate from that, because by not informing us, it may kill some form of production.
Right. Right.
And things like that. And that's all I'm saying. Like, so even the people in power are not necessarily always wielding their power in the best ways, in my opinion. And the people that are the underlings are kind of like not always trying to push through to that next level. Like, yeah, I expect life to kick me in the balls a few times.
One doesn't not.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. I say life's going to kick you in the balls from time to time. You'll eventually expect it to come. It's going to come. Now I wear a cup. So, still sucks.
Right.
But I'm ready for you. Like, I'm bracing myself for it instead of like some random nut shot.
Well, yeah, perhaps we should leave on that. Wear a cup.
Wear a cup, please. Fellas. Ladies, they make lady cups too. I learned this. I did not know that existed.
Yeah, but
guys
don't go kicking ladies in the taco. That's just not
cool. Please don't. No bruised tacos.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's just not cool.
That's never good.
Thanks, Mitch, for joining us.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Thank you, Mitch.
We'll be back.
I'm Juan.
I'm Josh.
Mitch.
Take care.
No bruised